training is going to talk mostly about fonts that you can use in Google Docs. Some of these tips can also be used in Google Slides and possibly in Google Sheets. You may have noticed that when you start a new doc, it comes set as Arial for the font family and 11 for the font size. You can change that if you don't like those two settings, you want a bigger or different font family. You can change those and change what is your default so that every time you open a new file, you don't have to change it to what you like. It will automatically be that. What you might want to do before changing your default is to see what fonts are available to you. And if you click on the little triangle and then go down to the bottom of that, you can select more fonts. And then you can search through what I've heard is over 800 different types of fonts. You can choose from different styles of fonts. There's a lot to choose from. I don't even know what most of these mean. If you just want fonts that look like handwriting, select that filter. And you can choose them to be listed by what's the most popular, alphabetical, and you can see what's there. So you might try adding a few just by clicking on them and then clicking OK. That will now be added to your font choices. If you want to make a permanent change to the font family and the font size, if we type some words, I like that one in a size 12. Now what I would do is go to Format, Paragraph Styles, and then I want to change what my normal text looks like. So I'm going to update normal text to match that. While you're personalizing your normal text, you could also go in and personalize some other styles of text that teachers use often, like your headings. You could type in heading 1 and heading 2 so that you know which ones you're working with. And sometimes you want your headings to be a different font family than your normal text. So you can go in and pick one out and have it be bigger than your normal style. Get it changed to what you want, and then go into Format, Paragraph Styles, Heading 1, and update Heading 1 to match. Go through the same process for Heading 2. And if you wanted one of these to have a highlight to it, you can add that to the setting as well. You would just need to go in and again tell it to update that. So now you've got your headings and normal text set up to what you want. And if you were ready to type in another heading number 2, you would just click that and it automatically formats it for you. For all of this to take effect, you need to make sure and click Format, Paragraph Styles, and then go down to Options and Save as my default styles. And now those are all set and ready for you to use on every document that you open in Google Docs. If you go into File and Page Setup, you can change some other things for your default. If you want the margins on the side to be different, you can change those here. If you wanted to add just a little shade of color to your page, you can do that here as well. And then click Set as Default. And the next time I open a document, it should look just like this with a little bit of color, the margins set at 0.75, and these two for my font family and font size. If I go into File, New Document, you can see it's just what I asked for, and that is how you can set a Google Doc to have the font family and font size and page setup that you want every time. Another thing you can do with Google Docs is insert special characters. Maybe you've seen other people use these and you've wondered how they did it. This is going to show you how. So if you click on Insert, Special Characters, there are going to be multiple things you can choose from. Probably the ones that you will use the most are symbols, emojis, punctuations, and numbers. Let's look at the emojis first. And if you hover over one, say you want a fist bump sign, you can add that in, and then you can highlight it and actually increase the size of it. Then you can, if you want to use that over and over, say you want to use this for a bulleted list item, you could Control C and copy it, and then Control V. You could paste that in as many times as you wanted. That's how you would add emojis to a Google Doc. Let's say you wanted a symbol, something like that. Maybe you want to use this for your bulleted list and you want to use it all the time. Again, you can do Control C to copy that, and you can paste it in wherever you want. But what if you make bulleted lists often and you'd like to be able to type that in? Well, obviously there's no key on your keyboard that lets you type that in. I'll show you how to create a keyboard shortcut that places this on the screen for you. If we go to Tools and Preferences, you see this list of lots of things right now that are keyboard shortcuts. Some of them are ones that I've created, some are ones that were already created. So if I put this in, I want this little icon to show up. So now I just have to type in something that I won't be typing all the time so that accidentally this shows up, but that is a quick enough way for me to type it in and remember, and then it automatically puts in that. Also, if you want there to be a space after this arrow, usually you might want that with a bulleted list, you can put in have whatever you type here, insert the arrow and a space. So I'm going to go with, let's see, if I just use the little arrow keys that are right above the period. So if I go Shift and that, now you can see that if I type in arrow, arrow, and then hit the space bar, this is going to be created. Let's click OK. And I will come down here. So I typed in Shift, that arrow symbol, it's probably the less than symbol. I type that in twice and then I hit the space bar and this automatically shows up. But what happens is because I hit the space bar as part of my preferences, it added 2 spaces. So if I don't want 2 spaces, I can go back into preferences, find the one that I had. It might get added down at the bottom, and eliminate that space. So I type that symbol twice, hit the space bar, and now I get this just 1 space next to it. One of the other ones that I like is a checkbox. I use this because I make a lot of lists and I want to have a nice check mark to show that I've done what's on the list. So if I type XX and space, I get a check mark in a box. You probably don't want to create too many of these because it can get hard to remember what they are. I've got the that, and the symbol turns into a nicer arrow. So that is how you can create your own special characters shortcuts.